food pushers. Every family has one. Do you have a food pusher, or maybe some food pushers in your family? Are you a food pusher? This is the subject of this week's Zippi Live. For those who are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Zippi Live I. I'm a nurse and certified food addiction recovery counselor. And today I want to talk about food pushers. This is a very personal subject for me because my mother was the mother of all food pushers, my Jewish mother. You know, she loved us a lot, and a lot of that expression of love came through food. And the biggest compliment you could give my mother is if you took second helpings of whatever it is she made. And if you said, like, this tastes really good, she would say, oh, why don't you have some more? And she also really would sometimes even force us to finish our plates. So food pushing for me is a very personal subject, but I think that everybody has some experience with food pushers. If it's their parents, one of their parents, maybe an aunt, a grandmother, somebody who at these family occasions or big parties, right, is walking around with all these dishes and encouraging people to eat and to eat more and to have seconds. Now, as somebody who, as a life change, as a way of life, does not eat sugar and flour, that can be sometimes super challenging because it's just not accepted really socially, right? Not to partake in any of these sweet, starchy, hyper-processed foods. And sometimes people even see it as insulting that you won't have any. So I want to give a few tips what I do in order to sort of circumvent this. First of all, there is one very simple answer when people offer you food, and that is no thank you. No explanations needed. I do not owe anyone an explanation of why I don't eat sugar and flour, if I don't eat sugar and flour, how I don't eat sugar and flour, if it's right or if it's wrong, if it's a moral issue or a health issue. I do not owe anyone any explanations or discussion about it. I do not need to discuss it. I can just say, no, thank you. Not right now. My stomach's a little queasy, so maybe later. There are plenty of these general answers just to deflect. And if somebody says again, no, thank you again. And here's another thing about food pushers, especially I see this with people who have decided to, abstain from their trigger foods, or, they are self-proclaimed food addictions. And then when people do start pushing food on them, or especially if they somebody will comment about the fact that they aren't having any, they take it very personally and really feel some resentment toward these people, that they feel that they're very misunderstood, and even feel that people are behaving in a way that's not nice, like that they're being in a way marginalized because they have chosen not to eat sugar and flour. And it's true. This really, really does happen. But my attitude is it's not about, if you're feeling that way, it's a totally justified feeling because it's so socially unacceptable, because we have been totally brainwashed as a society that it is not okay not to have any, which is such bullshit. That's what they said about cigarettes in the 40s and 50s. But being one of those people who is in that category, who says no thank you, I want to, say to these people who feel really resentment and misunderstood by these food pushers and feel resentment towards them, that they're not doing it for us. They're doing it for them, right? Sometimes people will feel a little bit threatened by someone who says, I don't eat sugar and flour, thank you anyway. Sometimes people will feel it's as if it's as if it's judging them in that they are eating sugar and flour, and maybe they're eating it even though they're diabetic or obese or with some kind of metabolic disease, and then they feel like it's judging them. So it's really not about you. It's about them. So let's leave it by them, right? And we don't have to take on those feelings on ourselves. I really, really just have trained myself to let it go in here and out the other, all these comments, and I just do not let it affect me. And I remember that Yeah, I am misunderstood. And yeah, people think that I'm marginalizing myself, but I do not have to believe that just because other people think that. And this is my way of life, and I'm sticking to it. And this is what's good for me. So why should I care what other people think about it? Because I know that this is what's best for me. Now, I want to address one more thing. I asked at the beginning of this live, are you a food pusher? And this is something, especially even people who like themselves proclaim about themselves that they're food addicts, sometimes for other people, they feel like, well, I don't eat it, but you do. So here, I'm going to encourage you to have more because it's so tasty. So, or maybe like pushing healthy food on people who don't want to eat it, even our children. So let's remember that all food pushing is bad. It is bad to push food on people, even if it is salad and they should be eating it. So we can encourage people to eat healthy things, maybe by leaving it on the table and leaving, these healthy foods more available and more enticing. Like when my kids were little, I would make like these really cute, I would make sure that the vegetables looked tempting, right? Like I would make them in fingers and do all kinds of like things on the plate with them. We can do that, like we can encourage, but there is this fine line between encouraging someone to eat healthy, just like, or I would say not encouraging by making it easier for them to do it, but it has to be a self-choice. And remember that when we tell people to eat something, it doesn't matter what, we are basically telling them what to do. And usually all that it'll do is raise up people's defenses the same way it does to me when people push food at me. So let's not push food, any food, and let's be a little forgiving for people who are food pushers. Sometimes it's so ingrained in them, they can't help it. And for them, this is, like sort of like an expression of love. We can sort of just accept that in the people who are food pushers in our family. And remember that we absolutely do not have to give into it at all. I will never, ever eat even one bite of food just to make someone else feel good or prevent them from feeling bad. I once had a client who it was wonderful. She said that she was at a friend and the friend had made this special dish for her. And even though she had told her that she doesn't eat sugar and flour anymore, she had made this one. She said, like, I thought maybe, just a little or whatever it is. And this client of mine, her name is Judy, she said, I thought to myself, you know what? This is a situation where someone is going to feel bad, either me or my friend, and it's not going to be me. And she politely refused. And they're still friends. Nothing happened about it, and it's okay. So remember, the most simplest and effective answer for food pushers is no, thank you. This is the live for this week. Have a wonderful day, excellent evening. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you next week, Monday at 7 p.m. Israel time on Zippi Live.